that such a great global audience is joining us today, bringing together key leaders from politics, business, and all aspects of society. 2021 is a pivotal year, decisive in so many ways to shape our future. 2021 will be the critical year to re-establish trust in our ability to shape our common future in collective and constructive ways. We must win the fight against the virus. We must reinvigorate global economic growth and make it more robust, more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable. And at the same time, we must accelerate the transition to a net zero economy. In view of this objective, it's my distinct honor and great privilege to introduce our opening speaker of the Davos Agenda Week, His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. Mr. President, we all remember your historic speech in Davos in 2017. And unfortunately, in the last 4 years, the world has become in many ways even more interconnected, even more interdependent, but at the same time, more fractured and more polarized. Polarization has created the age of disagreement, which threatens to derail humanity. Now, we must come together to ensure that we capture the moment and move into the age of collaboration to build a better world. Mr. President, I could mention many initiatives that China has undertaken in the spirit of creating a world where all actors assume a responsible and responsive role. Mr. President, I believe this is the best time to reset our policies and to work jointly for a peaceful and prosperous world. We all welcome now His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China.
尊敬的十瓦部主席、女士们、先生们、朋友们，
Klaus Schwab,
过
ladies
去
and
一
gentlemen,
年，
friends,
突如其来的新
the
冠肺
past
炎疫
year
情
was
肆
marked
虐
by the
全
sudden
球，
onslaught of the
全球公共卫
COVID-19
生面
pandemic.
临严重危险，
Global public health
世界
faced
经济陷
severe
入
threat,
深度衰
and
退，
the world economy was
人类经历
mired
了史
in
上
deep
罕见的
recession.
多重危机，
Humanity encountered multiple
这一
crises
年，
rarely seen
各国
in
人民
human
以巨
history.
大的决心和勇
The
气，
past year also
从
bore
病魔
witness
展开
to the
殊死
enormous
搏斗，
resolve and courage of
依靠
people
科
around
学
the
理性
world
的力量，
in battling the
弘扬
deadly
人道主义精
coronavirus.
神，
Guided
全球
by
抗疫
science,
取得
reason,
初步
and a
成效。
humanitarian spirit, the world has achieved
现在，
initial progress
疫
in
情还
fighting
远未结
COVID-19.
束，
That said, the
近期又
pandemic
出现
is
反
far
弹，
from over. The recent
抗疫
resurgence
仍在
in
继
COVID
续。
cases reminds us that we
但
must
我们
carry
坚
on
信
the fight.
寒冬
Yet we
阻
remain
挡不了
convinced
春天的脚
that
步，
winter cannot stop the
黑夜
arrival of
遮
spring,
蔽不住
and
黎明
darkness
的曙
can
光。
never shroud the light of dawn. There
人
is
类
no
一定
doubt
能够战胜疫
that
情，
humanity will
在
prevail
从灾
over
难
the
的斗争
virus
中
and
成长
emerge
进步，
even stronger
浴火
from this
重生。
disaster. Ladies and
女
gentlemen,
士们、先生们、朋
friends,
友们，
history is
历史
moving
总在
forward,
不断前进。
and the world will not
世
go
界
back
回
to
不到
what it
从前。
was in the past.
我们
Every
今天
choice
所做
and
的
move
每一个
we
抉
make
择，
today
采取的每
will
一项
shape the
行动，
world of the
都
future.
将决定世界的未来。
It is important that we properly
我们要
address
解决
the
好这个
four
时代
major
面临的
tasks
四大
facing
课题。
people of our
第
times.
一，
The first
加强
is to
宏
step up
观
macroeconomic
经济政策
policy
协调，
coordination
共
and
同推
jointly
动世
promote
界经济
strong,
强劲、可
sustainable,
持续、
balanced,
平
and
衡、
inclusive growth
包容
of the
增长。
world economy. We are going
人
through
类
the
正在
worst
遭受
recession
第二
since the
次
end
世界大
of
战
World
结
War
束以
II.
来最严重
For
的
the first
经
time
济衰
in
退。
history, the economies
各大
of
经济
all
板块
regions
历史上
have
首
been
次
hit hard
同
at
时
the
遭受
same
重创。
time. With global
全球
industrial
产
and
业链
supply
供应链
chains
运
clogged
行受阻，
and trade and investment
贸易
down
和
in the
投资活动
doldrums.
持续低迷，
Despite the trillions
各
of
国出
dollars
台
in
数
relief
万亿
packages
美
worldwide,
元经济救助措
global
施，
recovery is rather shaky,
但世界经济复苏势
and the
头
outlook
仍然
remains
很不稳定，
uncertain.
前景
We
存
need
在
to focus
很大
on
不确
current
定性。
priorities and balance COVID response
我们既要
and
把握当
economic
下，
development.
统筹疫情防控，
Macroeconomic policy
经济发
support
展，
should be stepped up
加
to
强
bring the
宏观
world
经济政策
economy
支持，
out of the woods
推
as
动世
early
界
as
经
possible.
济早日走
More
出
importantly,
危机阴影。
we need to look beyond
更
the
要放眼未
horizon
来，
and
下决心
strengthen
推
our
动世
will
界
and
经济
resolve for
动力
change.
转换，
We need to
方
shift
式
the
转
driving
变，
forces and
结果
growth
调整，
models of the global economy
使世
and
界经济
improve
走
its
上
structure
长期健康
so
稳
as to
定发
set
展
the
的轨
course
道，
for long-term, sound and steady
Yeah.
development of the world economy.
摒弃
The second
意识
is to
形态
abandon
偏见，
ideological prejudice and jointly
共同走
follow a
和
path
平共
of
处
peaceful
互利
coexistence,
共赢之路。
mutual benefit, and win-win
世界
cooperation.
上没有两片完全
No
相
two
同的树
leaves
叶，
in the
也
world
没有
are
完全相
identical,
同的历史文
and
化
no
和
histories,
社会制度。
cultures, or social systems
各国
are
历
the
史文
same.
化和社会制度各有
Each country
千
is
秋，
unique
没
with
有
its
高
own
低优
history,
劣之分，
culture, and social
关键
system,
在于是否符
and
合
none
本国
is
国情，
superior to the other.
能否获得人民
The
拥护
best
和支持
criteria are whether a
能否带来
country's
政治
history,
稳定、
culture,
社
and
会进
social
步、
system
民
fit
生改
its
善，
particular
能
situation,
否为
enjoy
人类进
people's
步事
support,
业做出贡献。
serve to deliver political stability, social
各
progress,
国历史
and
文
better
化和
lives,
社会制度
and
差异
contribute to
自
human
古就存
progress.
在，是
The
人类
different
文明
histories,
的内
cultures,
在
and
属
social
性。
systems are as old as
没有
human
多样性
societies,
就没有人
and
类
they are
文
the
明。
inherent features of human
多样
civilization.
性是客观
There
现
will be
实，
no human
将
civilization
长期存
without
在。
diversity, and such diversity will
并不
continue
可
to
怕。
exist for as long as we
可
can
怕的
imagine.
是傲慢，
Difference in
偏见
itself is no
仇
cause
视。
for alarm. What does
可
ring
怕
the
的
alarm
是想把人
is
类文明
arrogance,
分为
prejudice,
三
and
六九
hatred.
等。
It is the
可
attempt to
怕的
impose
是把
hierarchy
自己的
on
历史
human
文化
civilization,
和社会制度
or to force
强
one's
加
own
给他
history,
人。
culture, and social system upon others.
各国应该
The
在
right
相互尊
choice
重、
is for countries to
求同存异
pursue
基础
peaceful
上
coexistence
实现和平共处，
based on mutual respect
促进
and
各
on
国交
expanding
流
common
互鉴，
ground while
为
shelving
人类文
differences,
明发展进
and to
步
promote
注入动力。
exchanges and mutual learning. This is the way to add
第三，
impetus to the progress
克服
of human
发达国家
civilization.
和发展中国家发
The
展
third
鸿沟
is to close the divide
共同推动
between
各国
developed
发展
and developing countries, and jointly bring about
当前
growth and prosperity
公
for
平
all.
问题
Today,
突出，
inequality continues
南
to
北差
grow,
距有待
the
弥合，
north-south gap remains to
可
be
持续
bridged,
发展事业
and sustainable
面
development
临
faces
严峻
severe
挑战。
challenges. As countries grapple with the
疫情之下，
pandemic, their economic
各国经济
recoveries
复苏
are following
表现
divergent
分化，
trajectories, and
南
the
北发展
north-south
差距
gap
面临扩大
risks
甚
further
至恶化
widening
风
and
险。
even perpetuation. For developing
广大
countries,
发展中
they're
国家
aspiring
普
for
遍
more resources
希望
and space for
获得
development,
更多发
and
展
they're
资源
calling
和
for
空间，
stronger representation
要
and
求在
voice
全球
in
经济治
global
理中
economic governance.
享有更多代表
We
性
should
和发言
recognize
权。
that with the growth of developing countries,
应该看到
global prosperity and stability
发
will be
展
put
中国
on
家
a more
发展
solid
起来
footing,
了，整
and
个世
developed
界繁荣
countries
稳定
will stand
就
to
会有
benefit from
更
such
加
growth.
坚实的基础。
The international
发达
community
国家也
should
将
keep its
从中
eyes
受益。
on the long run, honor its commitment,
国际社
and
会应该
provide
着眼
necessary
长远，
support to developing
承诺，
countries and safeguard
为发
their
展中国家
legitimate
发展
development
提供必要
interests.
支持，
Equal rights,
保障
equal
发展中国
opportunities,
家正当
and
发
equal
展权
rules
益，
should be strengthened,
促进
so that all countries
权利
will
平等，
benefit from the
机会平等，
opportunities and the
规则平
fruits
等，
of development.
让各国人
The
民共
fourth
享发展
is to
机
come
遇
together
和
against
成果。
global challenges and jointly create a better
fourth,
future for humanity.
携手应对全
In
球
the
性
era
挑
of
战，
economic
共同
globalization,
缔造
public
人
health
类美好未来。
emergencies like COVID-19 may very well
在经
recur,
济全球化时代，
and global public health
类似
governance
新冠肺炎疫
needs
情的
to be
突发公
enhanced.
共卫生事件，
The
绝不
Earth
会是
is
最
our
后一
one
次。
and only home.
全球
To
公共卫
scale
生
up
治理
efforts
亟
to
待加
address
强。
climate change and promote
地球
sustainable
是人
development
类赖以生存的
bears on the
唯一
future
家园。
of humanity.
加大应
No
对气候
global
变化力
problem
度，
can be solved
推动可
by
持续
any
发展，
one country
关
alone.
系人类前途和未
There
来。
must be global action
人类面
global
临的
response
所有全球
and
性
global
问题，
cooperation.
任何一国想单打独斗，
Ladies and
无法
gentlemen,
解决，
friends,
必须开展
the
全球
problems
行动，
facing the
全
world
球应
are
对，
intricate
全
and
球合
complex.
作。
the way out of them is through
女士们
upholding
先生们
multilateralism and building a
世界上
community
的问题
with a shared
错综复
future
杂
for mankind.
解决问题的出路
First,
是
we
维
should
护
stay committed
和践
to
行多
openness
边
and
主义
inclusiveness instead
推
of
动构建
closeness
人类命运
and
共同体
exclusion. Multilateralism is
我们
about
要
having
坚持开
international
放包
affairs
容，不
addressed
搞
through
松并
consultation,
排他，
and the future of the world
多边
decided
主义的
by
要义
everyone working
是
together.
国际上的事，
To build
大家共
small
同商量
circles
着办。
or start a new Cold
世界
War,
前途命运
to
由各
reject,
国
threaten,
共同掌
or
握。
intimidate others, to willfully
在
impose
国际上
decoupling,
搞小圈子、
supply disruption,
新冷
or
战、
sanctions,
排
and to
斥、
create
威胁、
isolation or
恐吓
estrangement
他人、
will only push
动
the
不动就
world
搞脱
into
钩、
division
断供、
and even
制裁
confrontation.
人为造成
We
相
cannot
互
tackle
隔离
common
甚至隔
challenges
绝，
in a
只
divided
能把世
world,
界推向
and
分裂，
confrontation
甚至
will
对
lead
抗。
us to a dead end.
一个分裂的世界
Humanity
无法
has
应对
learned
人类
lessons
面临的
the hard
共同
way,
挑战，
and that
对
history
抗将把人
is
类
not
引入
long
死胡
gone.
同。
We must not
在这
return
个问题
to
上
the path of the past.
人类付出过惨痛
The
的
right
代价，
approach is to act on the vision of a
因见不
community
远，
with a shared
我
future
们绝
for
不能
mankind.
再走那
We should
条老路
uphold。the common values of humanity, namely
我们
peace,
要秉持人类命运
development,
共同体理
equity,
念，
justice,
坚守
democracy,
和平
and freedom,
发展、
rise above
公平、
ideological
正义、
prejudice,
民
make
主
the、mechanisms,
自由的
principles, and
全人
policies
类
of our
共同价
cooperation
值，
as open and
摆
inclusive
脱意
as
识形态
possible,
偏见，
and jointly
最大
safeguard
程度
world peace and
增
stability.
强合作机制、
We
理
should
念
build an open
政
world
策的
economy,
开放性和包容性，
uphold the multilateral
共
trading
同维护
regime,
世界和平稳定。
discard discriminatory and exclusionary standards,
建设
rules,
开放
and
型世界
systems,
经济，
and take down
坚定
barriers
维
to
护多
trade,
边贸易体制，
investment, and
不
technological
搞歧视性
exchanges.
排他性标准、
We should strengthen
规
the
则体
G20
系，
as a premier
不
forum
搞割
for
裂贸
global
易、
economic
投资、
governance,
技术的高墙壁，
engage in closer macroeconomic policy coordination,
要
and keep
巩
the
固20
global
国集团作
industrial
为
and
全
supply
球经济
chains
治理
stable
主要平
and
台的
open.
地位。
We should
密切
ensure
宏
the
观
sound
经济政策协
operation
调，
of the global financial system,
维护全球
promote
产业链、
structural
供
reform,
应链稳
and
定顺
expand
畅，
global aggregate demand
维护全
in
球
an
金
effort
融体
to
系，
strive for
稳
higher
健运
quality
行，
and stronger resilience
推
in
进结
global
构性改
economic
革，
development.
扩大全球总需求，
Second, we should
推动
stay
世界经
committed
济
to international
实现
law
更高
and
质量、
international rules
更有韧
instead
性的
of
发展。
seeking one's own supremacy.
我们要坚持以国际法
Ancient
则
Chinese
为基
believed
础，
that the law is the
不搞唯
very
我独尊。
foundation of governance.
中国古人
International
讲
governance should be
法
based
者
on the
只知
rules
端
and
也
consensus reached among us,
国际社会应该
not
按
on
照
the
各
order
国共同达成
given
的
by
规则和
one
共
or the
识
few.
来治理，
The Charter of the
而不能
United
由一
Nations
个或几
is the
个国
basic
家
and universally
来发号施令。
recognized norms governing state-to-state
联合国
relations.
宪章是公认的
Without
国与国的
international
基本
law
准
and
则。
international rules that are formed
没有
and
这些国际
recognized
社会
by
共
the
同
global
制定、
community, the
普遍
world
公认
may
的国
fall
际法
back to the
则，
law of the jungle,
世
and
界
the
最终
consequence
将滑向
would be devastating
弱肉
for
强食
humanity.
的丛林法则。
We need to be
给人类
resolute
带来灾
in
难性
championing
后
the international rule of
我
law
们要厉行国
and
际法治，
steadfast in our resolve
毫不
to
动摇维护
safeguard
以
the
联合国
international
为
system
核心的
centered
国际
around
体
the
系，
UN and the international
以国际法
order
为基础的
based on
国际
international
秩序。
law. Multilateral
多边
institutions
机构是
which
践行
provide
多
the
边主义的
platforms
平台，
for putting multilateralism
也是维
into
护多
action
边主义的基本
and which
框
are the
架，
basic architecture
其权威
underpinning
性和有效
multilateralism
性
should have
得
their
到维护。
authority and effectiveness safeguarded.
要坚持通过
State-to-state
制度和规
relations
则来
should be
协调规
coordinated
范各
and
国关系，
regulated through proper
反对恃
institutions
强
and
凌弱，
rules.
不
The
能
strong
谁
should
胳膊
not bully
粗
the weak.
拳头大，
Decisions
谁
should
说了
not be
算。
made by
也
simply
不
showing
能以
off
多
strong
边主义
muscles
之名
or waving a
行
big
单
fist.
边主义之实。
Multilateralism should not be used as
要
pretext
坚持原
for
则，
acts of
规
unilateralism.
则一旦确定，
Principles should be
大
preserved,
家都要
and rules
有
once
效
made
遵循。
should be followed by all.
有选择的多
Selective
边主义不应
multilateralism
成为我
should
们的
not be
选择。
our option. Third, we should stay committed
我们要
to
坚持协商
consultation
合
and
作，
cooperation
不搞冲突
instead of
对抗。
conflict and confrontation.
各国历史文
Differences
化和
in
社会制
history,
度差异
culture,
不
and
是
social
对立
system
对抗的理
should not
由
be an excuse for
而是合作的
antagonism
动力。
or confrontation, but rather an
要
incentive
尊重
for
包容
cooperation.
差异，
We should respect
不
and
干涉
accommodate
别国内政，
differences,
通过
avoid
协商
meddling
对
in
话
other countries'
解决分
internal
歧。
affairs, and resolve disagreements through
历史和
consultation
现实一
and
再告诉
dialogue.
我们，
History and
当今
reality
世
have
界
made it clear
如
time
果
and
走
again
对立对抗
that
的
the misguided
歧路，
approach of antagonism and
无论
confrontation,
是
be it in the
搞
form
冷
of
战、
Cold
热
War,
战还是贸易
hot
战、
war,
科技战，
trade war,
最
or
终
tech war,
将损害
would
各国利益，
eventually hurt
牺
all
牲人
countries'
民福祉。
interests and undermine
我们要摒
everyone's
弃冷战
well-being.
思维、零和博弈的旧理
We
念，
should reject the outdated
坚持
Cold
互送
War
互
and
谅，
zero-sum game
通过战
mentality,
略沟通增进
adhere to
政治
mutual
关系，
respect and accommodation,
要
and
恪守
enhance
互利
political
共赢的
trust
合作观，
through strategic
拒
communication.
绝以邻为壑、自
It
私
is
自利的
important
狭隘
that
政
we
策，
stick to the cooperation
抛
concept
弃垄
based on
断
mutual
发展优
benefit,
势的片面做
say
法，
no to narrow-minded,
保障各国
selfish,
平等发展
beggar thy neighbor policies,
促进共同
and
发
stop
展。
unilateral practice of keeping advantages in
要提倡
development
公平
all
公
to
正基础
oneself.
上的竞争，
Equal rights
开
to
展你追
development
我赶
should be
共同提高
guaranteed
的
for all
田径
countries
赛，
to promote common
而
development
不
and
是搞相互
prosperity.
攻击、你死我
We
活
should
的
advocate fair
角斗
competition,
赛。
like competing with each other for excellence in a racing
我
field,
们要坚持
not
与时
beating
俱
each
进，
other on a
不搞
wrestling
固步自
arena.
封。
Fourth,
世
we
界
should
正在
stay
经历
committed
百
to
年未
keeping
有
up
之
with
大
the
变
times
局，
instead of rejecting
既是
change.
大发展的时代
The，world is undergoing
也是大
changes
变革的时代。
unseen in a century, and now is the
21世纪
time
的多边
for
主义
major
要
development
守正
and
初
major
心，
transformation.
面向未
To
来，
uphold multilateralism
既要
in the
坚持多边
21st
主义
century,
的核心
we
价
should
值
promote
和
its
基本
fine
原则，
tradition, take
也
on
要
new
立足世界
perspectives,
格局变
and
化，
look to the future.
着眼应
We
对
need to
全球
stand
性
by
挑
the
战
core
需要，
values and basic principles of
在
multilateralism.
广泛协商、
We also need to
凝聚
adapt
共
to the
识基
changing
础上
international landscape
改
and
革
respond
和
to
完
global
善
challenges
全球
as
治
they
理体
arise.
系。
We need to reform and improve the global governance
我们要
system
发挥世
on the
界卫
basis
生
of
组织作用，
extensive consultation
构
and
建人类卫
consensus
生健
building.
康共同体。
We need to give full play to the role of the
要
World
推
Health
进世界贸易
Organization
组织
in building a
和
global
国际
community
金
of
融
health
货
for
币
all.
体系改革，
We need to advance reform
促
of
进
the
世界
World
经济
Trade
增长，
Organization and the
保障
international
发展中
financial
国家
and
发展
monetary
权益
system
和空
in a
间。
way that boosts global economic growth and protects the
要秉持
development
以人为
rights,
中心、
interests, and
基于事
opportunities
实的
of developing
政策导
countries.
向，
We need to follow
探
a
讨制定
people-centered
全
and
球
fact-based
数字治
policy
理规则，
orientation in exploring and formulating
要落
rules
实应对
on
气候
global
变
digital
化巴黎协
governance.
定，
We need to
促进
deliver on
绿
the
色发
Paris
展，
Agreement on climate change and
要
promote
坚持
green
发展优
development.
先，
We
落
need
实
to
联
give
合国
continued
2030
priority to
年可
development,
持续发展议程，
implement the 2030
确保各
Agenda
国
for
特别
sustainable
是发展中
development,
国家
and make sure
分享
that all
全球发
countries,
展带来的好
especially
处。
developing ones, sharing the
女
fruits
士们、
of
先生们、
global
朋友们，
development.
中国人民
Ladies
经
and
过
gentlemen,
长期艰苦
friends,
奋斗，
After decades of strenuous efforts by the Chinese people,
脱贫
China
攻坚
is on
取得历
course
史
to
性成
finish
果，
building a moderately
开启了
prosperous
全面建
society
设社
in
会
all
主义现代
respects.
化国家新征
We
程。
have made historic gains in ending
我们
extreme
将立足
poverty
新发展阶
and
段
have，embarked on a new journey
贯彻新发展
toward
理
fully
念，
building a modern
积极构建以
socialist
国内
country.
大循环为主体，
As China enters a
国
new
内国际
development
双循
stage,
环
we
相
will
互促
follow
进
a
的
new
新发展
development
格局，
philosophy and foster a
投入
new
各国一
development
道，
paradigm, with
共
domestic
建持久和
circulation
平，
as the mainstay
普
and
遍安
domestic
全，
and international circulations
共同繁荣，
reinforcing each other.
开放包容，
China will work with other
清洁
countries
美丽
to
的
build
世
an
界。
open, inclusive, clean, and beautiful world that
中国将
enjoys
继
lasting
续积
peace,
极参与国
universal
际抗疫合
security,
作。
and common prosperity.
抗击疫情是国际社会
China
面
will
临的
continue
最
to take
紧
an
迫
active
任务。
part in international
这
cooperation
既是
on
坚持人民至
COVID-19.
上、生命至上的
Containing
基
the
本要求，
coronavirus is the
也
most
是稳定
pressing
恢复
task for the
经济的基
international
本前提。
community. This is because people
我们要
and their
深化
lives
团结合
must
作，
always be put
加强
before
信息
anything
共享
else.
和
It is
联防
also
联
what
控，
it takes to stabilize
坚决
and
打赢
revive
全
the
球疫
economy.
情阻击战。
Closer solidarity and cooperation,
特别是要
more
加强
information
疫
sharing,
苗
and a
研
stronger
发、
global
生产、
response are what
分
we
配合
need
作，
to defeat COVID-19 COVID-19 across the world. It is especially important to scale up cooperation on the R&D, production and distribution of vaccines and make them public goods that are truly accessible and affordable to people in all countries. By now, China has provided assistance to over 150 countries and 13 international organizations, sent 36 medical expert teams to countries in need, and stay strongly supportive and actively engaged in international cooperation on COVID vaccines. China will continue to share its experience with other countries, do its best to assist countries and regions that are less prepared for the pandemic, and work for greater accessibility and affordability of COVID vaccines in developing countries. We hope these efforts will contribute to an early and complete victory over the coronavirus throughout the world. China will continue to implement a win-win strategy of opening up. Economic globalization meets the need of growing social productivity and is a natural outcome of scientific and technological advancement. It serves no one's interest to use the pandemic as an excuse to reverse globalization and go for seclusion and decoupling. As a long-standing supporter of economic globalization, China is committed to following through on its fundamental policy of opening up. China will continue to promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation, help keep the global industrial and supply chains smooth and stable, and advance high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. China will promote institutional opening up that covers rules, regulations, management, and standards. We will foster a business environment that is based on market principles, governed by law, and up to international standards, and unleash the potential of the huge China market and enormous domestic demand. We hope these efforts will bring more cooperation opportunities to other countries and give further impetus to global economic recovery and growth. China will continue to promote sustainable development. China will fully implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It will do more on the ecological front by transforming and improving its industrial structure and energy mix at a faster pace, and promoting a green, low-carbon way of life and production. I have announced China's goal of striving to peak carbon dioxide emissions before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. Meeting these targets will require tremendous hard work from China. Yet we believe that when the interests of the entire humanity are at stake, China must step forward, take action, and get the job done. China is drawing up action plans and taking specific measures already to make sure we meet the set targets. We are doing this as a concrete action to uphold multilateralism and as a contribution to protecting our shared home and realizing sustainable development of humanity. China will continue to advance science, technology, and innovation. Science, technology, and innovation is a key engine for human progress, a powerful weapon in tackling many global challenges, and the only way for China to foster a new development paradigm and achieve high-quality development. China will invest more in science and technology, develop an enabling system for innovation as a priority, turn breakthroughs in science and technology into actual productivity at a faster pace, and enhance intellectual property protection, all for the purpose of fostering innovation-driven, higher quality growth. Scientific and technological advances should benefit all humanity, rather than be used to curb and contain other countries' development. China will think and act with more openness with regard to international exchange and cooperation on science and technology. We will work with other countries to create an open, fair, equitable, and non-discriminatory environment for scientific and technological advancement that is beneficial to all and shared by all. China will continue to promote a new type of international relations, zero-sum game or winner-takes-all, is not the guiding philosophy of the Chinese people. As a staunch follower of independent foreign policy of peace, China is working hard to bridge differences through dialogue and resolve disputes through negotiation, and to pursue friendly and cooperative relations with other countries on the basis of mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefit. As a steadfast member of developing countries, China will further deepen South-South cooperation and contribute to the endeavor of developing countries to eradicate poverty, ease debt burden, and achieve more growth. China will get more actively engaged in global economic governance and push for an economic globalization that is more open, inclusive, balanced, and beneficial to all. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, there is only one Earth and one shared future for humanity. As we cope with the current crisis and endeavor to make a better day for everyone, we need to stand united and work together. We have been shown time and again that to beggar thy neighbor, to go it alone, and to slip into arrogant isolation will always fail. Let us all join hands and let multilateralism light our way toward a community with a shared future for mankind.